Hello, everybody, and welcome to Conservatish episode 253. My name is Peter Feliciano. Wherever you're listening, make sure you subscribe, share, rate, review. I'm not fucking around. I gotta make that cash. And I don't make that cash if I keep getting shadow banned to death. So unless you share it, you're racist. If you don't share this episode, I'm just saying right now, you hate Puerto Ricans and you hate gays. Okay, so it's double trouble. Okay, that's
And
not like
Mexicans.
and Mexicans, sabes. So you hate two types of Latinxes and dykes. If you are all right, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great privilege to welcome Dykes on the Right onto the show. Yay! Thank you so much, ladies, Jen and Megan, for joining me. How are you tonight?
Doing
Good.
well, thank you. Thank you for
Good.
having us.
My pleasure. Where can people find you?
Mainly on Twitter. Everything else we're kind of like social media non-existent, but Twitter, Dykes on the Right. That's where we're at.
Fantastic.
For the
I've
most
seen
part.
y'all busy as fuck. You've been doing all kinds of great shit for GAG. Can you please tell people what GAG is?
So, Gays Against Groomers is an organization that we are out to protect the kids from all this crazy ass ideology that's going on. We want, just let the kids be kids. Stop trying to genderize them or make them confused. Stop trying to cut off body parts and make them take medicines that mess them up. So,
Right.
yeah, we're out there advocating for kids on the behalf of the LGBT community that, they're trying to weasel into
Now,
with like,
now,
everything past the T.
right. Now, I like this. Who are they that is trying to weasel?
Um, well, now it's actually a lot of paid politicians. Yeah, on both sides, sadly. The trans lobby is very powerful, and yeah, the right and the left are unfortunately both taking money from them. The school boards, for sure, the teachers' unions. It's coming from everywhere, and then you get all these freshly indoctrinated teachers that their main concern is being validated by these children by getting them to use their pronouns rather than getting them to be functional adults that know math and reading. So it's coming from everywhere.
Yeah, and the they specifically within the LGBT is everything past the T. That stuff that half of us can't even remember how 900 letters and numbers and pluses.
Extremely radicalized activists, basically.
Most of them are straight. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That makes me really happy to hear because I relate to it so much. So I grew up. A lot of people who watch Conservatish already know. Oh, by the way, shout out to all the. It's a very small amount, just so you know. If you're watching this right now and you're like, it's two wings of the same bird. Like conservatives are just as bad. There are extremes. I mean, I posted a video last week of me doing drag, and I had maybe four or five Christian conservatives coming. You're not supposed to. Jesus says. But compared to the fucking far left, holy shit. I've only been called a Nazi twice, and both times were by white boys. So, and I'm a fucking, I'm a Puerto Rican. So, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, so shout out to them. But I did want to say, as far as my experience, I grew up in the Bay Area, right? I've been a fag stag most of my life. Okay. I have no problem with no gays, no nothing, whatever. It's all gravy. A dear family member of mine is a lesbian, and actually red pilled me, by the way. But anyway, maybe we'll get to that. But I share that to say, I lived in the Bay Area for 20 plus years. Never heard none of this queer shit, right? Never heard none of this two-spirit shit. Never heard none of this. You know what I mean? I probably met like 2 trans people my entire 20 years, right? And it was never like, oh, you know, this is weird or like hate them or anything. It was just rare. You know what I mean? And now it's like everybody's, you know, oh, I want to be cool too. I want to be a part of the club. I want to be me. And it seems like especially it's straight white dudes who feel left out, just like you're saying, and just want to be a part of some sort of victim class, some sort of protected class, and some sort of importance. And so they say, I'm trans, you know, or I'm queer. It's nonsense. You're not.
Yeah. No, it's 100% true. And it's become a social contagion. It really has. And, you know, we have our own theories on like why this is really blown up within the white people versus everything else, is because all of the CRT, all of, you know, all of this, white people are bad demons that belong back in hell and on the ground licking boots. Now they have a way out of that.
Right.
They have a way to be into a protected class. And so where else are they going to go to not get the crap beat out of them, or, you know, because nobody wants to be a homophobe or a transphobe or whatever phobe, or, you know, what they, them mispronunciation. I don't even understand pronouns.
Right.
I don't get that shit. But
Now,
yeah.
In what was y'all's experience growing up gay?
I've never seen anything like this. I mean, there was definitely social contagions that happened. I mean, I'm a Gen Xer, and I remember fucking every girl in my senior year almost was knocked up at that point in time, or had an eating disorder, right? Like that.
I was just gonna say bulimia or anorexia, pretty popular back in the day.
Well, we weren't sitting there indulging it and going, you know what, let's get you on fen right now. You know,
let's go get you that gastric bypass.
But this is like the one thing that's untouchable. Like, you cannot question it. If you say you are, then okay, everybody just has to bow down before you and, you know, capitulate to this ideology. And that's why I think the gay community, especially now, is going, wait. We're not a monolith. We're not down with this. Nobody ever asked us if we all wanted to be forced team together. And now you're seeing a backlash starting to happen for the first time in decades. There's a regression happening with acceptance for the LGBT, and it is because of these radicalized activists.
And me growing up, it was more of like, I was constantly surrounded by it, but I grew up in a very predominantly Mexican neighborhood. So, you know, there was the hush hush factor where, you know, you don't really talk about it, but, you know, if you know, one of my best friends growing up came out as trans when I was 12. It was my best friend's older sister, and we're still very good friends to this day. Like, I love her so much. She was the first one to give me the most amazing eyebrows in my life. And, you know, growing up, it's like, I knew that I always had an attraction to women. I always knew and felt closer to them. I always knew and felt like I fell in love with them. They were always my crush. But, you know, you follow along with the normal of what you're supposed to do, what mommy and daddy say. You're going to grow up. You're going to have a husband. You're going to have kids, all of that type of stuff. So we all had our beards.
Yeah, everybody had like a boyfriend or a girlfriend back then, because you had to, or else you're going to get the shit kicked out of you. Yeah. But it's very interesting. Nobody had to teach us how to be gay. And this is what you're seeing now. There's this push. It's in everything. Their books, their homework assignments.
Yeah.
I mean, we have parents reaching out to us left and right that are just so desperate for help because they don't want to be labeled a domestic terrorist for going to their kid's school board meeting and showing concern. So that's where we started to come in, because they can call us homophobic, they can call us transphobic, but the shit doesn't stick to us the way it does other people. You know, it looks stupid after that.
Right. For multiple reasons. I've had that same experience with being, with being half Puerto Rican, where people try to flex that white guilt muscle on me. And I'm like, bro, who are you talking to? Right. And it's almost always white people, by the way. Sometimes every once in a while it's somebody black, especially because I've been speaking about blacks not actually being Democrats the last month. Because they're not, by the way. Just as a little side note, go up to any black woman and ask her if she's cool if a drag queen reads to her son.
Hell no, they're not.
No.
Go up to a black man and ask him if he's cool with his son putting on a dress. Stop, bro. Stop, bro. Stop, bro. Right or wrong, even if they're wrong, you, the left, the media, the government have told us for 40 plus 50, 60 years that black people are Democrats. Sorry, bro. No, certainly not.
Hispanic people in general. We are innately conservative people, very religious, very family oriented, very nuclear family oriented. So I don't know how we all, any minority, really got hustled into thinking that the left was going to do anything for us. It's just every 2 to 4 years, promises, and then nothing.
Good media.
That's it.
They bought the media. That's how it happened.
In fact, Mexicans are some of the hardest working motherfuckers in the goddamn world, right?
Yeah. Let me tell you,
and yet they are. And yet you go up to any leftist university, like the left, they're lazy sons of bitches. They want a degree in pottery, right? And I want to sit around and my daddy pays me to go to NYU, and then it's easy to be a Marxist when your dad pays for, when you're on your daddy's Blue Cross, bro.
That's right.
So we have that cultural established base. I also want to talk about, there's lots of different things I want to talk about, and thank you again for coming on the show. But I also want to talk about a little bit of not just how this happened. I think, let's first pick apart how this happened. I personally believe, right, because one of the things I talk a lot about on the show is knowing your enemy. Unless we know our enemy, we can't really fix this problem, right? The first step to a diagnosis is admitting you're powerless, right? But like the first step is at least identifying the problem. I don't think it's just the lazy conservative or non-liberal or whatever you want to call it way to look at it is to say, I mean, some of them are absolutely groomers, right? But let me just speak to the conservatives who are listening right now. Not every gay person, in fact, 99.5% of them are not fucking groomers, right? Just like 99.5% of straight motherfuckers, okay? But it's too easy for the knee-jerk, intellectually and emotionally lazy conservative to go, oh, trans agenda, or like, gay, it's because gay people are ruining the country. And then that's why, like you're saying, there's now a decline on gay acceptance. It's not gays people's fault, right? Gays were actually pretty chilling. Like once, especially Obama made gay. Wasn't Obama the one who made gay marriage? It
was
legal?
the Supreme Court during the Obama era. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Once they were kind of chilling for a little while. I mean, they would squawk up. I lived in San Francisco when Trump won, but y'all were cool.
That's all we wanted.
Yep. We were ready to take our toys and just go home and be done with it. You know what I mean? Like,
what kind of toys? Hey.
Yeah, right. And then all of a sudden, I noticed it, especially, I want to say about 2015, all of a sudden, there was a shift and all this social media buzz around, like, all of a sudden, trans people just started popping up left and right. Like, you couldn't go anywhere without reading about it, right? And the way it morphed, it was really looking like it was going to be a war on women. And that was the first time I had heard the word TERF, right? And it was a bunch of radical feminists that were pushing back and saying, you can't be this. You can't be a lesbian. You are not a woman. And, people started getting canceled at that point in time. And that's when I realized this is going to be a big thing going forward. And I mean, I know people hate in the community when we say the slippery slope, but that turned into an avalanche and it happened so fast. It was like you couldn't even stop it from happening.
And let me tell you a little mini tiny backstory. She's been watching the UK since the UK started with everything going on. Yeah. And I was very much, I don't want to know. Like because I know me. My ADHD will get the better of me and I will dive full force. And that's where I'm at now.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's been watching this since it started in the UK and it was around 2015, 2016.
2014, 2015 is when it really started to go crazy.
How was it manifesting in the UK?
So well, and also Canada. I know you know who Jordan Peterson is.
Mhm.
With basically they're trying to mandate your language, and if you accidentally misgender somebody, a dude's gonna walk in with the beard and a skirt, and if you call him sir, you're gonna have the police at your door, and it's insane to me. Like, what in the hell police state is this? So Orwellian, and I know that's so cliche to say at this point because it's all coming true, But yeah, that's when I really noticed this is going to be a problem, and it's going to come here because everything that starts that's cool and the thing to do usually starts in the UK and then moves to the US, and that's exactly what happened.
And by cool, you mean wimpy dog shit.
Like the music and all that stuff. Like usually culturally, generally that's what happens. And in the Western world, But yeah, I knew it was going to be bad, but I wasn't expecting this.
Right. Now, I want to get a little backstory as well, deeper into y'all's experience, because I've seen some of the pushback is not just, hey, don't use my name, like keep my name out your fucking mouth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also some of it is, bitch, we fought for years, decades. We got called faggot and beat up in the streets.
Oh yeah.
You've been wearing a dress for 2 fucking weeks, and now you want to be up in this fucking game? Who the fuck? Right? So can you give me a little anger, please?
Well, I'll go first because mine's a lot shorter than hers is.
Do it.
So my anger comes from the very first instance I felt gay anger was in high school. So I had come to a little gay boy that was on one of my teams, my sports teams, and I was telling him, we all know you're gay. I'm gay. If you need somebody to talk to, I'm here. Well, then all of a sudden, I guess he opened his mouth and I was like shunned from all of my friend groups. That was my very first like gay hate experience. And I would see the only lesbian couple in our school that was open get beat up constantly. Mm-hmm. I helped within my school create like the peer counseling, the, support groups and that kind of stuff. But then after that, it was really kind of chill. Mm-hmm. And so, we kind of accepted-ish that we're not going to have gay marriage, but there's civil unions, kind of the same exact thing. We'll have our own ceremonies, we'll do our own thing. And then there is an actual chance, especially here in California when, the one and only thing good that California has done was give us the right to get married. Mm-hmm. And a shit ton of us fucking got married. She got married, was one of the first ones. Mm-hmm. I was literally the last one at that time to our ex-wives.
We fucked it up just as much as straight people did.
Pretty much. Wait a second. Are you saying that lesbians are humans? That's weird. The left tells me that everybody who likes the same sex is like, somehow morally righteous. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So when they were going to take it away, I remember being in the streets fighting for it. I remember going up to San Fran. I remember, when it was going to be like a huge thing within the nation, going to LA and like protesting. I remember like being thrown on the ground a couple times and told to wait there. And then, when the cop wasn't looking, we all got up and ran away. Like
Was this Prop 8?
Yeah.
The Prop 8 situation? Okay.
Yeah, it was the Prop 8 situation. And then, it just kind of died down for a while. And yeah, now we're here and we're having to fucking do it all over again. Mm-hmm. But hers is a lot more interesting than mine, so.
No. Very interesting. All right,
go ahead. So for me, I'm 5 years older than Megan is. So you couldn't be openly gay in high school. That wasn't a thing. My rejection to the word queer in its entirety is because usually when I heard that, it was coming at the other end of a fist. And so to sit there and watch these people embrace it and just all these weird mantras, it just becomes so cultish for me. I also was one of the people that fought for marriage equality. I got put in a paddy wagon a couple times. And from what I'm seeing now, if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't do it.
No.
I don't care if I had the right to be legally married or not. If this was the catalyst that started all this shit, it wasn't worth it to me.
No.
Wow. Okay.
100%.
I remember who was that gay? The one from my best friend's wedding. Englishman. Why am I asking? Why am I asking? Y'all wouldn't know. Mike Harlow should text me right now. There was a guy who around about Prop 8 time, he was a gay guy. He said, yeah, I don't want to get married. And everybody in the gay community was like, but maybe there was some merit to it. And again, let me pick apart, maybe ask you some clarifying questions. It's not that, obviously hindsight 2020, right? But it's not that you didn't believe in what you believed, and nor that you don't want the rights now. It's just that we got played, right? This is what the way I feel it is. Okay, I was like, yeah, equality, yeah, we want to, and then that really the money behind that fucking movement was a bunch of rich white straight dudes going, ah ha 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 ha, right? It was motherfuckers in Davos, right? It was George Soros, it was the DNC, it was all these, right? Bill Gateses, who just wanted to use our passion, right? Same thing that they did to black people in 2020, right? It's just like, yep, give me the power. Oh, we've got the carrot on the stick. Keep chasing, and if you finally get it, turns out we've already screwed you anyway, right?
Yeah. So then what happens? You have HRC, the Human Rights Campaign. You have all of these other organizations that they were funneling all this money in there. And then we get what we wanted, and they still want more. Well, what's the next thing that we can fight for? What's the next thing that we're going to push for, so we can keep raking in those funds, that we can keep making all of this money? Because like you said, it's just all about that kind of greed. And it almost gets to the point that it seems like they're creating issues to keep the funding coming in, to keep their organization going. Whereas like Gays Against Groomers, we don't want to be here in 5 years.
Right. That's the goal.
The goal is to not have to be doing this in 5 years. It's to get all of this shit under control and then fucking nix out and go be gay again and just live.
Right. Man, if we could just get back to eat and snatch, that would be so great.
The good old days.
Right. Remember dildos? No.
Serious.
That's it. I know you wouldn't, but wouldn't it be great to have Gays Against Groomer dildos? Put that rainbow shit on a strap on. Come on now, Jamie, get to branding.
Somebody's already requested a G-string or a jock strap. So.
Exactly. Okay. So that was similar, or I saw reflections of that. Old gays, like San Francisco 80s gays. Those are the motherfuckers I kind of grew up with, right? Where, okay, every once in a while I get my ass felt, but other than that, they were chill, right? They didn't want me to, be a part of whatever. But there was this underlying gay rage, and it wasn't passive aggressive. It wasn't sometimes it was, but it was born out of a place of, not only did I have to fight for my rights, not only did I get called a faggot and beat the shit up, right? But also I saw my friends dying on a weekly basis from AIDS, right? And then continue to be shunned in the community, right? Mm-hmm. And then to come all the way up now, right? And have, I can't remember his name, in Virginia. Josh Slocum did a great breakdown of it.
Fred Sargent?
Yes. Can you give a little of that story if you remember it?
I thought it was Burlington, Vermont for some reason, but he was basically there to kind of oppose the same things that we do, this indoctrination of children and this bastardization of the community.
And saying that this is not what he fought for. This is not what he was creating when he created the movement. because he's the father of pride.
Right.
He's the one that created the whole thing, and he got the crap beat out of him
by these entitled little shits who should be kissing his feet for the ready-made progress that they walked into. Should be kissing my feet for the ready-made progress that they walked into, but instead they spit in our faces, and I'm so tired of it. You know, this is where the pushback comes from, because I see them disrespecting our gay elders, and I'm just like, you have no idea.
You have the fact that you have the right to go out and scream and yell and spit in the faces of people and dox them and cause them harm and destroy their lives was because of this one single man and one single lesbian who started everything. And they don't do their history. You can go out and demand all these things from the public because of these people.
Right.
Because of us. We gave you the right to be who you are today, and you are treating us like crap, like trash.
Right. And it's one thing to disagree. It's one thing to, I understand we are all allowed to evolve, but to like, like this is my main problem with Rage Against the Machine, right? It's not that they're corporate douchebags, right? It's not that they're bought and sold faggots. And I mean that in the pejorative sense. It's not that they're just sellouts. It's that they're sellouts who still believe that they're rebels. That's what bothers me. That's what bothers me. If they just dropped that and said, right, we're pop now, I'd be like, okay, it makes sense. It makes, anytime Taylor Swift, says vote for Joe Biden, guys, I'm like, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Right. But Rage Against the Machine, who are literally, it's in their name, Rage Against the Machine, like shirts and all that shit, requiring a vaccine to go to their concert. Right.
Right.
That's what bothers me. It's that same thing where it's just like, okay, it's one thing to go and say like, well, our movement's changed. Okay, but you're supposed to be the rebels. Who is benefiting off of your rebellion? Who? It's straight white dudes. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. It's Davos. It's George Soros. It's all these literally Nazi motherfuckers.
Right.
Literally. George Soros. Wait, was he the one? Yeah. George Soros, literally, right? Nazi people who are benefiting from this, from your movement. Like, I would pump the brakes. I would pump the brakes if you're punching and assaulting the guy who started your movement. I would pump the brakes. But that would require what? Because again, we're talking about the disease and how it became this way. That would require emotional maturity.
Right.
And when you've pecked away at not just emotional maturity, but the need for it, or even the definition of it, the ability to see it and practice it, of course you're going to act like a fucking child. Of course you're going to assault the guy who started your movement. Of course, right?
Well, so. and for me too, it's very interesting, especially Rage Against the Machine, because when I was growing up, I was a scrappy punk rocker kid too, always anti-establishment. So when I look at somebody like Rage Against the Machine that's become the machine, I'm like, nothing that you are saying is revolutionary. You're going with the narrative, so there's no pushback for you. Like, you shut the fuck up, right? So for me, it was kind of funny because probably the most punk rock thing I feel like I ever did was leaving the left, because that is the establishment, And I went, you know what? No, I'm out. I'm not going to sit here and act as though I'm supporting this inversion of reality. It's insane. The things that we're supposed to be so deluded to believe, the very biological things, for example, that we all knew 15 minutes ago, and we're all going to sit here and deny and pretend. I don't need to play into anybody's delusions in that manner. It's insane.
She's OG punk rock, by the way, like a hardcore OG punk rock, like.
Yeah, all right. That was many moons ago.
No, you still are.
Let's talk about another aspect of gay rage here too. in all my years of living in the Bay Area, of hanging out with gays of all kinds. I mean, you know, one of my great friends for years. She was a little dykey girl, and we would just, you know, we related a lot because we just hated on women. You know, we're having a hard time. You know, I was like 19, 20, couldn't get laid, and I was, you know, didn't know myself and whatever. We would just like start trying to hit on girls, and they'd be like, yeah, fuck them, whatever. So I know gays. And I probably went to a lesbian bar maybe once because that's a lesbian fucking space, right? Gays put up with straight girls a little, right? But I mean, talk to any OG gay, and one of the worst nights at the gay club is when the bachelorette party comes in, you know, spilling drinks and everything's about them. And it's like, bitch, I'm trying to get laid and dance. What the fuck are you doing here, right? That's someone else's space. But now, a man who doesn't even have to suck dick, right? He can call himself a part of the LGBT movement by putting on a dress and saying that he is, right? And still be attracted and try to fuck girls, can now come into your fucking hood and cramp your fucking style. So give me a little of that too, please.
What fucking hood? What fucking hood do we have left?
Nothing.
Right.
There's literally 12 lesbian bars left in the United States, and it's because of this shit.
And one of them just opened up in LA, which isn't that far from us. They have one singular bathroom, like literally a single. If anybody knows women, that line is going to be wrapped around the fucking building, or we're all going to pile in there at the same fucking time.
Right.
But there's only like 12 lesbian bars in the entire country when you used to be able to find them in almost every major city.
Right.
And they've all been infiltrated, like you said, by people pretending to be this. Now it was the lesbian bar has turned into having lesbian night, which you're going to find more sausage than a taco.
That's true.
Right.
And you don't even, sometimes you don't even know which one's which because you've had so many martinis,
right.
Dry, double.
Right.
And you like,
yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. I feel bad for young lesbians. It's no wonder they're opting out of their womanhood. That's all they're saying. They have no good lesbian and gay role models to look up to. Mm-hmm. And Jesus. That's what my goal is now at my age, is trying to be that for them, you know, showing them that there's another way. You don't have to, you know, slice and dice off your parts and medicalize yourself for the rest of your life.
I mean, what the fuck happened to gender nonconforming? I mean, I miss looking at butch lesbians. Like, I married one.
Get that gone.
I'm typically very, very femme. Like, when we go out, I have like full face of makeup and my heels, even though she's 5'4" and I'm almost 6 foot. I'm still in my heels. And it's now all of these young girls who may just possibly be these butchy, dykey lesbians are getting put on hormones. They're getting things chopped off. They're being told that they're boys. And I'm like, no, that is the future dykes of America. Like, I want to create a foundation of the future dykes of America, like practically, because I'm like, what's going to happen to all the little femi, like lipstick lesbians? They're not going to have their counterpart. They're not going to have, they're not going to have my wife.
That's true.
Like it's really depressing and saddening.
I was going to say, like, not to bring it down, but
it's just like
literally
so sad.
I cry sometimes when I think about it. It's that bad. Like, we're becoming extinct.
Same with gay boys.
Exactly. They're trans in the gay way is what I call it.
Right.
It used to be pray the gay away. Now it's transing the gay away. And I feel just as bad for all the little gay boys, because them too are now with these trans house and bi proxy mamas. Like, oh, my son likes to sew, or he liked a shiny thing because his sister 2 years apart liked a shiny thing. And now he's trans and I'm going to parade him around at 3 saying he's a girl. Right. Like, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
I remember I played with Barbies for a little while. I think I was maybe 8 or 9. So do you have a pair of scissors? No, I'm just kidding. It's coming off. But I remember I played with that when I was a kid, and there was no talk of me being different. You know what I mean? Like, I knew I felt like a little strange. Probably lasted like 2 months or whatever. Went back to like my Vanilla Ice doll and shit. I literally had a fucking Vanilla Ice doll.
That's dope.
That's awesome. I'm more the He-Man era.
You're in the what?
I'm more the He-Man era. Like, I loved everything He-Man. And He-Man was my shit.
And that's why you're with her.
There you go. There you go.
Yep.
Now, okay, so what? Okay. Yes, we are talking about the problem, but is there any, because I know you're saying what other spaces are there? What hood? Where are the dykes going? Where are they? There's got to be some underground motherfuckers. There's got to be some. No, not even like a grinder. Is there a dyke grinder like somewhere?
Dude, there's not. That's also been infiltrated by girl dick, if you will.
No, it's literally called that. There's something called the cotton ceiling, and actually she's writing an article about it for Gays Against Groomers. We have somebody who was very involved with that, who is very local with us, that she's pairing with to write this whole story. And it'll probably come out within the next month or two, because it's very detailed. But it's all about how now trans women feel and trans men feel that they deserve to be seen as a man. So it is homophobic or transphobic for straight or gays to deny them sex because they're not attracted to their genitalia. I'm sorry. There's a certain pheromone, a certain scent, a certain feeling that you get from being with the same gender that you can't get with a transgender person. I could not get that. I never have had the same feeling as I have with being with a woman, being with a man.
Right.
Yeah, it's just that. I mean, it's all attraction is primal. You can't help that. And but the sad thing that you're seeing is that there's people that are literally forcing themselves to be attracted to people that they're not attracted to, all in the name of inclusion.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not just in the name of inclusion. Here's the other part of the psyop. It's not just that, okay, we'll give you a way out. We'll give you a way out, a victim card, a status symbol, or whatever. It's also they squeeze the problem, right? Because you got to have just like, sorry, everybody, I know it's trite. Here it comes.
He said squeeze.
What?
I said he said squeeze.
He said, "Ooh, hey." Just like the real reason Germans were like, well, I mean, Hitler's got a point, right? Is because of the financial issues going on, right? Hitler said, okay, I know you're starving to death. It's them, right? And everyone's like, yeah, it is. Yeah, they do own all the, yeah, they do. Yeah, right? So present the problem, squeeze people in the problem, present solutions. So let's talk a little bit about that problem. Why do we feel like it's not enough? Do you think it's an extension of genuine homophobia? I've heard that passed around on the on the Gays Against Groomers kick, on that culture tip, a lot of different types of influencers and people in the group and people in the movement. Do you feel like it's an extension of homophobia to do that for this movement, meaning?
In some aspects, yes, because I know in a couple of instances of which we call this the trans child's mommy by proxy, I cannot remember the child's name, but I know there's one who's on Twitter that's actually pretty prominent. When the kid basically was displaying gay behavior, the mom beat the kid to a pulp and then decided, oh, he's trans.
And was fine with it.
Fine being trans, but not, just letting him be a gay kid.
Do you know that happened? That's been happening in Iran for fucking years.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
In Iran, you're allowed to. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it's extended to Egypt now. I just saw that. It's
okay.
It has officially extended to Egypt. You're either arrested or you become trans.
Yep. That's it. Those are your two choices.
Right. So the culturally, to explain what we're talking about, everybody, the culture is okay. We're so manly, right? We're so we're so afraid of being of what if we had a sexual thought about a guy. It's all right then if and in fact it's okay. It's like culturally okay for straight men to have sex with trans women, right? Trans women. I get so confused sometimes. To have sex with trans women. But it's gay if you're with a dude, right? But if you put that dude, if he tucks, right, even if he's still got junk, it's okay as long as he presents as a girl, right? So it's so homophobic over there that that's some interesting shit. That's some interesting shit.
That reminds me of a Blair White podcast that I just recently seen, and she was talking about Dylan Mulvaney and how people aren't all up in his DMs, and how he shouldn't be single. She shouldn't be single. She should have trying to be PC and whatever. That she was saying, there has to be some element to gayness to be with a trans woman, because a lot of them do not like them post-op. They like them pre-op.
Right.
And, but it is its own subsect of sexuality, because there are specific men who do like trans women. They love the feminine aesthetic. They love the feminine look, the energy, everything that it gives off. But it's
with a surprise
downstairs that really kind of still, makes them interested. So she had put it so eloquently, and it really kind of hit home, because I mean, not to like divulge too much, but we have a family member who is in a relationship with a trans woman, beautiful woman. We love her so much. And it's its own whole subsect.
Some people get off on the dichotomy. It's a fucking fetish. There, just say it. We'll just say it.
I'm trying to be PC, okay? But
you're on the wrong show for that shit.
I know. But yeah, it's just, I don't understand how other countries are okay with making your gay men or lesbians transition themselves so that way your country looks like it is gayless.
Right.
Like to me, it makes no sense in my brain. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand that.
Right. I'll present another thing. I think it was Uganda today or yesterday. Yep. They made it outlawed to identify as LGBTQ. Right.
Yeah.
I'm guessing all those little white trans boys, right? I'm guessing y'all ain't gonna protest outside the Ugandan embassy.
Right.
I'm guessing.
Exactly.
I wonder. But your pronouns, someone said something that I disagree with on Twitter, and I'm literally being murdered, right? I'm literally being attacked. They did that to fucking Charlie Kirk last week. I'm no goddamn huge Charlie Kirk fan, but then motherfuckers were like, "Oh, Charlie Kirk, he called for trans lynching." No, the fuck he didn't, bro. Okay, what the fuck are you talking about? But when someone actually outlaws coming out as gay, y'all are fucking silent. Exactly. When Disney Plus is like, we're so gay, yay, take this, American child, take this down your fucking throat. But then when they send their Disney shit to China and there's no fucking mention of no queerness nowhere, right? And you're fucking silent on Chinese embassy. Come on, bro. You're full of shit. You're full of shit. You're doing it for the fucking gram. You're doing it for the fucking points. Fuck you. Sorry.
But these are the same fucking idiots, though, Peter, that I see a group of all these TRAs, these trans activists, holding the Palestinian flag. I'm like, go there, motherfucker. Go there, because they're going to give you a one-way trip to base jump off their tallest building without a parachute, motherfucker. Go.
Base jumping lessons. Right.
And this is they're so fixated on how people perceive them when they're not around and their pronouns, and they really don't know. They're unintelligent. They're very ignorant people. They don't know the history of Palestine. They don't know the history of even the Ukraine. You see them standing for that too, and I'm going, go there. Please go there and see how they treat
They
you.
just see, oh,
It's the latest cause.
People are being bad to other people. Let's support it.
Right. And no logic though. They don't do, they do little to no research. And that's the one thing I can say about the left. They're very intelligent in knowing that their low information voters will just zombie walk it into the booth and just anything with the D next to it, they're going to vote for without even doing any fucking research.
And my thing is, let's examine, like I was saying earlier, emotional immaturity. Let's examine what makes a motherfucker a zombie, right? It ain't a bite. It's fear. It's fear in all its magical manifestations, whether it be, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job if I say what I feel. Oh my God, I'm going to lose my friend circle if I say what I feel. I'm going to lose my partner base. Okay. And this is speaking even, by the way, because I just have to say this too. Even in a red state, okay, I'm in Austin. I know, very blue area, but it's a red state. I still see motherfuckers on dating apps who present as a girl and yet still have she, her in their fucking bio. I'm like, you look like a dipshit, okay? Like, your pronouns are just in case, hey, I know I present a little strange. Here's what my pronouns are. If you really want to, fine. But if you're a straight bitch who presents as a straight bitch, who is a fucking straight, like, what the fuck are you doing? You're just doing
virtue signaling.
Virtue
it's a
signaling.
Yeah.
But the lack, what do they get from the virtue signal? They get importance. They get love, right? Or at least the fucking bullshit version of it, right? Sorry, my light is dying. So they get all that shit. If we fixed people's need for that, if we fixed people's lack of that, we'd have a lot less of these fucking TRAs. If we fixed fear, if we fixed emotional immaturity, we'd have a lot more reasonable shit going on. Right.
And just speaking of dating apps, we just had this conversation and we got into an argument about it. It's when
you want to have a private side note. I'm sorry, say it again. Sorry. So,
it's when trans men call themselves lesbians. That is a hot topic. Neither one of us like it. Oh no! Every single lesbian that I've ever talked to or heard from hates it because you go on a dating app and you're a lesbian and you're looking, for, I don't know what they look for now. Like, we found ourselves on a dating app, but I digress. Another woman, and then all of a sudden you go on this date and maybe it gets hot and heavy, and then all of a sudden there's no woman parts there. Like I said, there's a sausage instead of a taco. And so I thought we've already relinquished the fact that we accept the phrase trans woman. We've already relinquished that.
You relinquish it.
No, I mean, a lot of people.
You accept it. I don't.
A lot of people don't accept it. But to me, it is better to signify I am a trans lesbian than just try to take over our entire fucking space.
But that's not it.
Don't take over my entire
why do
space.
words have definitions? That's why.
Okay,
trans has a definition. Trans has a definition. Transition has a definition. I was a man. I am now a woman, and I am still attracted to women. If you have done all of the surgeries, you have done whatever it is that makes your life happy, I am all for. But you will not take my label.
You're giving them a label by saying you can call them trans lesbians, dummy. That's my thing. That word's taken. By definition, it's exclusionary to men.
The entire world has already, well, not the entire world, because we just talked about what part of the world, but we all know what a trans woman is. When they say I am a trans woman, we know exactly what we're getting into.
Well, how can you forget? All they do is talk.
But if you are going to sit there and say I am a trans woman, but not say I am a trans woman on a dating profile, and just say you are a lesbian on a lesbian profile, and then you get to that date and you realize that is not actually a woman, please just put trans lesbian, because it will save so much issue. Like, okay, I am thinking on the opposite side of the coin here. I'm trying to play devil's advocate. Okay.
I don't give quarters, sorry.
I'm not giving quarters. But I would rather have that than have my entire existence of my term lesbian erased. Just like I would rather have trans woman rather than my entire definition and word of woman erased.
But that's how we got here, is by doing exactly what you're doing, by accepting that. Sorry.
Okay, so, one day a lesbian is gonna go on a dating app and she's gonna like go on a date with a.
Is she blind? Because that's my question. Because I can clock them from a mile away.
Not everybody is you.
By the way, can I just say, I love my show so much. This is the first lesbian fight I've ever had on the show, and I just God bless you, ladies. Now I grew up, and we talk about this a few more minutes here. All right?
Yeah.
All right, rock and roll. I want to know where the fuck Melissa Etheridge is. Okay, I want to know where the fuck Katie Lang is, bitch. All right, you fucking came up in the game. We already know Ellen be bought. We understand that.
Done. Yeah.
Right.
She's
Done.
Taurus hag.
Right. Sell out ass bitch. But where the fuck is Melissa? Like, come on. Like, where the fuck did this happen? She fought for that shit. She came out when it was really unpopular to come out. She was like known as, oh, that's just for lesbians to listen to. And that may have been somewhat true. Everybody likes come to my window. Where the fuck you at, bitch? Come out. Say, hey, movement that I helped push forward. Calm the fuck down. Like, where are these dykes?
So sadly, they're part of the machine. I mean, I was really big into, being like that. I was in the punk scene. I was really big into the Riot Girl movement too, which was all big lesbian feminist movement, right? They're accepting this shit, and I'm going, you're embracing the patriarchy that you guys were fucking banging on drums and pounding out chords about, and it's just like you're accepting it now because it comes in a skirt. What the fuck?
So Riot Girl, not Pussy Riot. You're thinking about earlier. What's the
Bikini
Riot Girl?
Kill, Kathleen Hanna.
Oh yeah.
So now they're like standing for these trans women, and I'm going, what happened to you guys? It's very interesting to watch all these people just genuflect before the feet of the TRA movement and just accept it.
Right.
Even though it's taking everything away from women, it's really sad to see, because I looked up to these people and now I'm just like they make me cringe.
Who were some of the other people that you looked up to? I mean, you're wearing a Save the Tomboys shirt, right? Shout out to Gays Against Groomers. Maggie, I also know. She's been on
Rachel's
my show.
Amazing, love her.
Fucking love her, dude.
So much.
She's always smoking a cigarette, just talking shit. I'm like, yeah, let's hang out.
She's like that in person too.
Huh?
She's like that in person too.
Yes, she is. But my experience is like, okay, so who were some of the other people that you looked up to here's what I mean. The question I'm putting out, you didn't need to be trained to be into pussy, right? You didn't need to read a book in 7th grade that said, what is a vagina? Where is the clit? You found out, right? You found out. And not only did you find out, but you found out yourself. It was a painful process, but you got there. I'm going to put a little, because I know there's no one straight listening to me on the other side of this, but I know there's some straight people or some gay people who need to hear this too. Straight people hate themselves in their teenage years too. Straight people have a hard time with their sexuality too. Straight people experiment and make huge fucking mistakes too. Straight people, okay, I'll give you another fucking point, not even attached, but I've talked about this. Sorry, everybody, it's going to be a bit of a downer. I've had such food issues and body image issues that I've wanted to kill myself over the points in my life. Okay. Do you want to put fucking legislation? Am I calling for fucking legislation to outlaw the word fat? Shut the fuck up. Right. So what I'm saying is, who did you look up to as a gay North Star when you were a kid that helped you? Or was it a teacher who said, you know what, it's all right if you like girl? Like what was the help for you?
Not to get back into another downer subject, but my uncle, who I lost during the AIDS crisis, was the one that was like, he would encourage me to just, he bought me my first leather jacket, my first pair of combat boots, and he was like, you just be a big old dyke, it's all right, And that was my first person that I knew that was gay, of course, my whole life. And then he passed away when I was about 13 during that whole time. And then, some of the celebrities that I was just talking about that were in the movement at the time, the huge feminist punk rock movement, that now I just watch them and I'm just like, like I said, what happened? Because everybody's just capitulating to this ideology. And I can't understand why, because it hurts everybody, but it's the group that's taken the most wounds from it and is going to continue is women. I mean, look, we just had Women's Day of whatever, and everybody that got awards was a biological male, and I'm going, is this real life? Like, I just want to like wake up out of this nightmare already. The best women in the world are men. The fuck? Like, what happened?
For me, I didn't have like role models that were gay really growing up, except for my best friend's older sister. And I didn't find those role models until I was in my mid-20s. I just knew and just developed and did what I did. I mean, I always knew. And from 18, my first girlfriend that I really had, it was in secret because she didn't want to come out to her parents, was at 16 in high school. And it lasted for 6 months. But after that, it was just, that's just what it was.
6 months, by the way, that's the shortest lesbian relationship I've ever heard in my life.
Right? Seriously.
Ironically, we both, our previous marriages were 12 years long.
Yeah.
Amazing. Anyway, sorry, continue. So you knew who you were even at 16, 18.
Yeah, I just didn't have role models that were gay around me. Like, grew up in a very, like I said, predominantly Mexican neighborhood. My dad was a biker, so it was very like macho man, and then the woman took care of the kids, and didn't really have those role models growing up. So it was just inherent in me. I knew I was going to fall in love with women.
Right. And what Gays Against Groomers and I and most of us in this movement that is going against, the indoctrination of children are trying to do is not bring us back to 1981, right? We're just trying to say, hey, will and grace is kind of enough. Like bikini kid, like, there's we hit the good point like almost 10 years ago or more, like pump the brakes, because our movement towards equality, whatever, is being bastardized and being used. We're all being played. We're all being played.
Yeah. Definitely. It was, we got what we wanted. We wanted to be treated like normal American citizens and have the rights of normal American citizens, and we achieved that. And now it seems that they are pushing the limits. They are hiding things from parents of kids in schools. Like, a kid can go to school and, have a completely different name and assume that they are a different gender. And the teachers are, at least in California, I know 100% lip locked from telling the parents. And that is the biggest problem that we're having, is that, there is a huge silencing. We've had so many teachers even come to us. Yeah. There's a whole group of teachers in our area that are just like, we want to inform the parents because we know they are loving people and will accept them no matter what, but we cannot go against the contract that we signed, pretty much.
Right. Well, so they could, but they're choosing. I don't know. I understand that. Can we piece that apart a little bit? Because like I said, not only is some of my frustration at the Melissa Etheridges, but also some of my frustration is the quiet supporters. Meaning y'all. I mean, it doesn't sound like you are wanting to, keep this. I mean, yeah, the movement or whatever, or maybe a show, or, you're over the top, your fun Twitter account or whatever. But y'all are just like, no, we just want to do activism shit, whatever. What I mean is, we're putting ourselves out there, the three of us, right? Yes. And other people are not, who not only could, the Melissa Etheridges, if she came out tomorrow and said, you know what? Calm the fuck down. Do you know how much of a huge win that would be? Do you know how many gays would be like, yeah, I'm with the fucking dyke. Yeah, like what the fuck is this shit, right? But they choose not to. And my frustration is that they act like, or even the quiet ones who aren't famous, who have no influence, act like the three of us are like superheroes. And that's a fucking bullshit move, because I'm sacrificing right now by even having the show. I've lost acquaintances. Even having the show, I have put myself, my reputation, potentially jobs, definitely relationships have been rocky as fuck sometimes. This last ex-girlfriend, she was emotionally mature in a lot of ways. But one of the big stopping points for our relationship was the fact that she was like, but you know, you're conservative. You have these was one of them was the fact that I was like, no, if I had a daughter and she came to me at 14, was like, daddy, I want to cut off my tits, I'd be like, sorry, kid, you're gonna have to wait 4 fucking years for that shit. You can dress however you fucking want. I'll call, yeah, spike your hair, baby, whatever the fuck. But I am not chemically or medically altering you when you ain't fucking mature, right? And that was one of the sticking points, because she thinks she has to be a good white girl by fucking cutting off babies' fucking genitalia. Anyway, so my problem is that I've faced consequences, and these motherfuckers who are silent and sending you in the DMs, I want to support, but fuck you. A piece of me, sorry, feels a bit fuck you, because it's acting like, no, I'll take the bullets. No, Jen and Megan, they'll take the bullets. No, bruh, no. Jump out here. Jump out here.
No, I totally feel the same way. I'm like, I'm not wearing a cape for you. I'm not doing it for your approval. I'm doing it because it's the right fucking thing to do. And it's so funny that you say that, because it totally reminds me. And that, like I said, there's extremes on each side, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like those quiet supporters that are trying to like toe the line, and they don't dare. They're pussies. They won't come out and do anything about all these things that they feel really strongly about because they're afraid, right? And then it just reminds me of people on the left that are just like, well, you should give up all your shit, and you should do this in the name of equality and inclusion, but they're not willing to do it themselves, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So just bullshit rhetoric. These people, they're afraid, and if you want to live in fear, I stopped doing that during that bullshit pandemic. Mm. I'm not going to be fear mongered into anything. If I were to lose, let's say my livelihood over this, then okay, so be it. There's something else out there for me. Mm-hmm. But living in fear and keeping my mouth shut in order to appease the state or an ideology, it's not going to happen. I'm not cut like that.
And I feel like we do get a ton. You have no idea how much mail we get from people who are in that boat. I get some of it because it is their livelihood. I get some of these teachers because, they may not have the backing of I am a lesbian or I am a gay man. So I can't sue if I get fired, whatever it is. Like, I get that, but we still go out and advocate for them. We talk to them. We, as an organization, will be the voice for these people. That can't, literally can't, because I know a lot of teachers always say, this is the one thing that teachers say, I love my students so much that I do not want to lose my job and leave them.
Or to leave them open to getting one of these psychotic ass pronoun teachers. They would rather toe the line and be able to keep their jobs so they know that those kids are safe in their classroom than to end up, losing tenure, getting fired, or exiting. And then who knows what happens after that. So I do get the aspect with the teachers, but also, it does get tiring and it does get irritating being the sacrificial lamb for a movement that people are too bitch made to do anything about.
Yeah. Right. But there's no difference between the three of us and them. That's what bothers me, is that I see this in spiritual groups too, where it's just like, oh, that guy does a lot of service. Wow. Good for him. It's like, whoa. You have the same capabilities. You just are unwilling to get into the trenches, right? I'm risking. The two of you are risking, right? And at a certain point, whether it's the universe or God or whatever, you have to. I'm unwilling to pay the mental and emotional price of keeping my fucking mouth shut, as if I could anyway, right? Sounds like the three of us are very similar in that way. But I'm unwilling to pay that spiritual, mental, emotional price,
And it is a price. Like, she knows I've had my breakdowns because there's been a lot of things that have gone out about me, a lot of things that have gone out about her, and I'm the emotional one for a lot of points. And I've had my breakdowns in the 8 months, because we joined Gays Against Groomers like 3 weeks after Jamie tweeted she was creating the org. And it was, there's been a lot of things that happened, but that's never going to stop me, because my heart is in preserving not only the LGBT and T name, it's also in preserving these kids and letting them just grow up, letting them just learn who they are for who they are, because we didn't need a roadmap.
Right.
The whatever hardships we faced in our life made us stronger. It made us to who we are today, to be able to stand up and fight for these things against all odds. It's just like you too. You stand up and you fight for these things against all odds, no matter how many friends you lose, no matter how many relationships just won't understand. But we're here and we're not going anywhere. So not until this is done are we fucking leaving the world. And hopefully one day we don't have to fucking do it anymore, because it's exhausting. It is so exhausting to do this.
And I'll also throw in that the water's a lot warmer than you think, everybody. I may have been called Nazi by a couple of incel white boys. But I have also, just even in the last, I think 4 months, I've gained 12,000 followers, right? I have 70% of my most valued relationships, valued, deep, trusting. I could call them anytime, day or night, and be like, my ass is falling off, and they will help me. 70% of my closest relationships have come from this show, or AKA me speaking up, right? So my world has expanded, my mind has expanded, my history has expanded, and I've been and I've learned that there is floor in front of me if I put my feet forward. But I remember thinking before I started the show, like, oh, I'm just buzzing around in my mind about all these ideas, and should I tweet, and should I post it? And just feeling like, I don't want this. I don't want to be small. So my word, just if you're on the fence, you're going to do it wrong. You're going to piss off a couple of motherfuckers, but those motherfuckers are going to be the emotionally immature people in your life anyway. Fuck them. Fuck them.
And on that bright note, I always say, I may have lost friends, but I gained a family.
Yeah, and not just that, but people need to remember that in 2023, humans have the attention span of a flea. If you fuck up and say something that people want to cancel you for today, by tomorrow they'll be on to the next rage mob. Like it's it's not that serious. Like you said, the water's a lot warmer than you think it is, and all it takes is one voice to multiply many. And I mean, that's the same thing with us. Like, we had no idea of how many other homos were like not okay with this, and now it turns out it's a vast majority. But we're just the only ones that aren't afraid.
Here in LA County, we thought we would be the lone wolves of everything, and turns out we have at least 20 to 30 people around us that are just like, we're tired of this. Fuck you. We're fighting back. Leave the fucking kids alone.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. Shout out to fucking Mario Presents. I had him on my show a couple months ago. That motherfucker's intense. Every time I see him like at a podium, just like bop, bop, bop with heels on and shit, I'm like, get him, get him.
Those heels I am jealous of. Like, he has the sway of a queen.
Yeah, he really does. God bless her heart. No, I'm just kidding. All right, everybody. Let's go ahead and wrap up. I'm fucking exhausted. This has been an awesome conversation. I really appreciate the fact that we finally got to do this.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that you are, I mean, neither one of you had like, huge account aspirations before you joined GAG, right? No,
I still don't.
Right, exactly. I mean, not that I did it for that, but I was already a working musician before I started the
Right.
show and started working out, right? Working out this stuff. So y'all didn't even have to fucking do this, and you're doing it. So I appreciate your fucking work, both of you.
Thank you.
It's yeah, it's really appreciated, and I'm glad that there's so much love and understanding and rocking and support with that's coming to you guys.
Thank you,
Thank you
Peter.
so
Thank you so
much.
much for having us too.
We love
Absolutely.
you. You know
I
that.
know. Well, I'm very lovable. That's why. Where can people find you on Twitter?
We're on Dykes on the Right on Twitter.
Mhm.
I'm under Just Another Fed Up Lesbian or Just a Fed Up Woman.
I'm mostly peaceful gatey.
Or OG Dyke No Q. But we are on IG, mostly Twitter,
Yeah.
a little bit on
On the metaverse a little bit when they let us be, but yeah.
TikTok.
Right.
I've been
Everywhere.
canceled 4 times, but my
Me too.
account's
4
kinda
times.
there.
Yeah. I stopped.
It's still there for now, but
I stopped making TikTok accounts after the 4th one got deleted. So.
Oh yeah.
but yeah. Or
Well,
you can
awesome.
always find us at gaysagainstgroomers.com. Our links and emails are there as well.
Sweet. All right, everybody, wherever you're listening, make sure you subscribe, share, rate, review, or you are a gaysist. And love you all very much. You can find me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano and on Twitter at Rule62Peter. And I'll go ahead and end the recording now. Hang on one second. Here it comes. Oh my God, it's about to end.